to our new membership. So excited to welcome you here. We created this membership because we feel that when we set out to talk about Magdalene and spread the messages of Magdalene, we pictured a small, intimate community of people that we were able to converse with and talk to about our ideas or things that we were feeling, or things we were experiencing. And here we are, almost 2 years later. We have 7,000 followers in our Facebook group. So it's not conducive to the type of environment that we had hoped to create. So that's why we started up the school membership, and we're calling it the Magdalene Network. And we're hoping that there can be some more conversations in there, talking about the things that we're experiencing. A lot of people are going through, there's like a planetary awakening happening right now, and a lot of people are feeling different types of things and symptoms and signs and synchronicities. I know for myself, when I was feeling these things happening to me, I did not feel there was anybody that I could speak to or express what was happening because people would think I was crazy. So who do you talk to? We wanted to create a community that we could hold the space for people to come and talk about their experiences without judgment. So that is why we created the Magdalene Network. So we're so happy to see you here with us. We consider you part of our inner circle. And with that, I'm going to get started. We're talking about the great remembering or the great awakening that's happening right now. We're going to talk about tonight. This is the Soul Voice, and we do hold Soul Voice every single month, once a month. It's on the second Wednesday. But today we are talking about awakening and how to use your soul voice to navigate this era in your life. It's going to be about 90 minutes, maybe a little bit over, but we'll see. And the meditation will be towards the end. So I'm just going to be doing lots of talking for a while. So relax, get your pen and paper if you choose to take notes. Otherwise, this is going to be posted within the group in the classroom section, and you will be able to watch it over and over again. And maybe I will take the meditation part out. So if you want to repeat the meditation, you don't have to go through the whole thing all over again. Okay, so let's get started. Let's see. So you're feeling something shifting in your life, right? That's why you're here. Something shifting in your body, your intuition, in the world around you, and you're looking for a language, clarity, and a grounded understanding of what is happening, what is going on with you. A sort of, is this real? Is this for real? I know I have asked myself that many, many times. So tonight's topic is the great remembering and why so many people are awakening, why your body is changing, why your perceptions are shifting, what the mystics and the science both say, and how to use your soul voice to navigate this moment with clarity, courage, and purpose. You are not crazy. You're awakening right on time. Let's dive in. So let's have a prayer first, just to bring us all into the same place. We invite the presence of Mary Magdalene, our guiding light and teacher, to join us tonight. May her wisdom and love infuse our discussions, open our hearts, and bring us closer to our truth. May this circle be a space of safety for connection, self-discovery, and transformation. And so it is. So I just want to set the stage here and give you a little bit of background in case you have not been to one of our circles before. Just know that this is a safe and non-judgmental space. As a sisterhood circle facilitator, one of our philosophies is that we're here to witness each other, not to offer advice or judgment. It's a space for seeing yourself in others, offering love and kindness to one another. I want you to just breathe into that idea that whatever has been rising for you emotionally, spiritually, and physically is not a mistake. You are experiencing what millions are experiencing right now, but silently. So tonight we're going to put language to it. So let's start with the most important truth. Awakening does not always feel like enlightenment. Awakening can sometimes feel like an unraveling. You're shedding identities you once needed. You're hearing intuition louder than ever. You're feeling emotions that don't match your old mind. You're craving meaning and truth. You're seeing synchronicities. You can't tolerate misalignment anymore. Holla if any of that sounds like you, because I would say check, 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 check. And maybe you're thinking, why am I like this? Why is everything falling apart? Why am I feeling things so intensely? Why do I suddenly see the world differently? Because your consciousness is reorganizing. And this is taking place on a global scale. Something that before it actually happened to you, you probably would have scoffed at if somebody tried to explain the experiences that they're having. So let's dive into how and why this is happening. So, what awakening actually is, metaphysical and spiritual. So, awakening is not becoming spiritual. Awakening is remembering who you are underneath your conditioning. We are all spiritual. A spirit is within us, but the level to which we slow down, pay attention to that unfamiliar part of us is dramatically unknown to most people. And there are four core components to awakening. So, the expansion of conscious awareness is the first one. You begin to perceive deeper layers of reality, inner truth, intuitive knowing, subtle energy. For me, it was a sudden knowing of things. Like somebody just dropped like intelligence on me. I suddenly knew how to resolve big world problems. And I kept feeling like this is so simple. I don't know why we haven't figured this out before. It was like every show I watched, every argument I saw the answer. I saw both sides. I saw perspectives from each person, and I was like, I get it. This would be so easy to solve if they could just realize that they both have different perspectives. And it's like, it's almost like a forehead slap. It's like, oh my God, why didn't we know this all along? Like, if we can just get out of our own way and listen, um, and get all that ego stuff out of the way, what progress we can make in the world, right? And so I do think that that is why a lot of these things are happening. That is why the world is having this great remembering or great awakening. We're waking up. We are being held responsible to raise our vibration. Of course, there's things that we need to do first in order to get to that point. But the in raising our vibration, we are raising the positive vibration on the entire planet. We're becoming smarter, we're knowing things. We're going to be the ones who are going to resolve the problems of the world right now so that we can continue humanity. Because quite honestly, things are not looking too good for planet Earth right now. So I think that we have been chosen to do something big with all of the information that we're being given and the abilities that have been bestowed upon us. So childhood memories started to slowly appear. Like just, I felt like I was watching a movie. I was actually doing the swipe, swipe, like seeing all these memories, like during my meditations that I had long forgotten. Smells or scents that I would smell something and it would bring me back to a place or times that I had long forgotten or buried. Things on TV started reminding me of old buried memories, and it was a forcing of sorts. It forced me to look at the things that I had avoided my entire adult life. Like, I'm one of those people that say, I don't remember high school. I don't remember any of that. That's your mind just, that's your ego, like hiding those memories from you because they were painful or they weren't very good. And you kind of want to forget that. So you do. But it's still there somewhere. It's in that when you're in that state of consciousness that you access those memories. And there's a reason for that. We're going to get to that soon. Your mind is not trying to sabotage you. It's actually trying to help you. So also vibrations through my body. I have vibrations through my body. I feel a lot of other people have this as well. Like I could feel my blood rushing through my veins. I feel like almost like I picture it like cells moving, like everything is moving inside of me, like an alive, exactly what it is, but we normally don't feel what's happening with inside of our bodies. I felt like my digestive system was so obvious. Like I could feel when I ate, like what's happening to food. I could feel it going through my digestive system. Dreams had deeper meanings. Accessing another level in my consciousness began happening in almost every meditation. And the more you do it and practice, the easier it becomes. Like a muscle, going to the gym and working out and lifting weights, you're going to make that muscle stronger. So the more you meditate and you're able to open that third eye and get to that other level of consciousness, the easier it's going to be to get there the next time and then the next time and the next time. So you may want to practice that on a regular basis. I began receiving messages and having very strong feelings about events that happened prior to my lifetime, like an attachment to some things that I would go, I'm a researcher, so I would go down rabbit holes and research all sorts of things. And I feel like the detectives that have the big board, so we have like Mary Magdalene, her gospel, then something else over here, then science and consciousness, and I'm over here like doing this, the red strings. Oh my God, this goes with this, and this leads to this, and this, and building this whole vision for myself, so to speak. Also, you'll start feeling a pull towards things, and you'll also be pushed away from other things, like you want to be in nature more or you begin to have an aversion to junk food, alcohol, meat. That happened to me too. And I actually was talking to Carrie about this and saying, if you can listen to your soul voice, which is the voice inside of you, and we'll get to that later on, your soul voice is smart. It knows what your body needs. And that is also how medical intuitives find they listen to that. Make a long story short, I wanted to stop drinking alcohol. I have drank alcohol for a very long time and I was drinking too much socially. And I had wanted to stop over and over and over again, and I just never could. And so I was listening to my soul voice doing a meditation, and I said, my intention was that I wanted to stop drinking. And I felt this, I guess it's like kind of a euphoric feeling. I felt elevated, euphoric. And I felt like for some reason, my body felt like it received something and not knowing what. And sure enough, the next day, and since then, which has been 2 years, 2.5 years, I have not touched alcohol. I don't crave it. If I smell alcohol, I feel like sick to my stomach. It's like my body now knows that that was poison. How that never worked before, I don't know, but it works now and it's kind of magical. So if you want to diet, this is a world's best diet, right? The soul voice diet. Because if you listen to your soul voice, should I eat this junk food or should I eat this healthy food? Your soul voice is going to push you to the healthy food. So this alone, though, can be exciting and overwhelming. You might keep it to yourself because you think you've gone crazy. But here's the thing, you aren't alone in this. And you're definitely not crazy. The synchronicities are everywhere. I tried to explain to my husband, and he mansplained to me using the red car analogy. So, when you're buying a red car, that you suddenly see red cars everywhere. And my response was less than kind. And I admit, a bit snarky. I was like, yeah, because the red cars were always there, but your mind is so crowded with other crap that you're not paying attention. This is what it's like. The red cars always there. We're just not paying attention. We're not seeing it. So the signs and synchronicities have always been there. We just don't believe in them. So we don't slow down to look for them. In that case, we can't see them. So once your intuition starts waking up, you will see them everywhere. Most of us are in this stage right now and maybe don't know what to do with that. So that's what we're here to work on because we're getting all these beautiful gifts and we don't know what to do with it. And maybe it can be scary sometimes. So this is why we created this group so we can come and talk to each other and be comfortable and comforted by each other. So the second core component of awakening is the dissolution of conditioning. Old belief structures begin to break apart. Those are religious programming, inherited trauma, patriarchal rules, family rules, emotional suppression. This is the uncomfortable territory many people call the dark night of the soul. And it's not that it's darkness, it's that it's a deprogramming going on, but it can be confusing and not, if you don't know what's happening, it can be a little scary sometimes. So we are innately programmed to believe our inherited parental religious teachers, what they present to us as truth. Whatever our parents believe is likely to be our belief as adults. Yet it's a blind belief because we never ask for proof. It just is. So if you think about if you are religious in any way, or were, I should say, I'll use myself as an example. I was raised Catholic and I just never asked, why are we Catholic? Or what's the opposite of Catholic? Should we be that instead? Why aren't we that instead? Like, you just grow up. This is what we do. We are Catholic and we do this or don't do that. And the same thing, patriarchal rules. We are women. Women cook dinner for their husbands. These these, I'm not sure what the word is I'm trying to find. We are programmed with those things. We have learned them from a young age, and so we carry on our life unless we get to a point where we want to change. It's likely that you will stay with the same belief that you were raised with. So, I mean, if you think about this, it's kind of scary because the amount of wars that have been fought over this issue is mind-boggling. People at war because they believe that their God is the only God. And it's like, how is that possible? It's literally not possible. And you have to realize that everybody is looking at it from their unique perspective. So my unique perspective was that I was raised as a Catholic and that mothers stayed home with their children and raised their children or cooked dinner, however you want to refer to my mom making her hot dogs rolled up in crescent rolls or whatever. But that would be my programming. So other people have a different programming. And the problem with that is that we will never see the other person's point of view because we have not grown up with their programming. That's why there's wars. If we could understand that we are programs to believe what we believe, we can deprogram ourselves, or we can understand why people see things differently than us and just allow it to be and just surrender to that. A lot of the fighting that's done, even in relationships, a lot of that fighting that goes on, could you imagine? Like now you could look at it like your spouse. Well, he was raised differently than me. Of course, he's going to see it this way, and I'm going to see it that way. So take that into consideration. Believe that what we were taught or observed is correct. So, which leads us to the third stage, the third component of awakening, the energetic rebalancing. This is where your body detoxifies the survival patterns. So survival patterns are flight, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, appease, perform, stay small. These aren't personality traits, they're protective imprints that your mind has created to protect you from painful experiences. Like it takes away that painful experience. So I'm going to refer to it as your ego, your mind, the active mind that's here, that's sitting here at this desk and presenting this to you is my ego. And my ego replaces the incident that was harmful to me, a painful experience, and it replaces it with something else. Like every time you see that red flag coming up, you're gonna fight, flight, freeze, fawn, appease, perform, or stay small. One of those, and you will see this is how we create repeating patterns of self-sabotage because we want to avoid that painful experience so much that we create a diversionary tactic and then we do it over and over and over again. But that diversionary tactic may be 10 times worse than experiencing the painful experience that you had maybe as a child. Maybe if you experience it as an adult, it would not be so painful. This is where the work really comes in. The gears are twisting. We got to get in there. We got to do some work on ourselves to clear all of this out. So during your awakening, what begins to unravel is, and you might start feeling, is emotional spikes, trauma, resurfacing, sensitivity, exhaustion, irritation, feeling raw. It's not regression, it's purification. You're feeling it as irritability, old traumas, emotional outbursts, sudden exhaustion. Why am I so sensitive? Why am I triggered by everything? Why can't I tolerate anything anymore? Why do I feel so raw? Your system is clearing old wiring so higher clarity can come in. Basically, your body is trying to tell you that you have some shadows to deal with, unresolved feelings, thoughts, or anger. It's literally becoming an alarm clock that's trying to wake you up. It's fascinating that this is happening behind the scenes to so many of us. It's like the alignment of this unfolding is really unbelievable. So, what's happening is that our consciousness is expanding past the survival mode and into an awareness mode. And the body has to adapt. So think of it like updating a very old operating system to run new software. There's an adaptation period. Things are going to be a little wonky for a little while, a little unsettled. That's where the dark night, the soul, comes in because your soul has to face a lot of things that you would prefer not to face in order to clear the way and make space for new consciousness. So you may be feeling some anxiety, overstimulation, buzzing, electricity in the body, pressure in the head or chest, heart flutters, feeling ungrounded, needing more rest, needing more solitude. Your system is not malfunctioning, it's upgrading. It can also feel like a very chaotic time, especially if you don't know what's happening. You might feel like everything is wrong or against you or super sensitive. Take all that into consideration and the fact that you feel like you can't share this with anyone or they'll think you're crazy just adds to it. Many people call this the dark night of the soul, but in reality, it's a full-blown awareness that you have things to resolve. So the vagus nerve or vagus nerve, I'm not really sure how that's to be said, begins to shift out of old patterns. So I find this very interesting and it's scientifically proven. So that is kudos because most of the things that us spiritual people deal with, there is no science backing any of it. So for once, there's something about this. So the vagus nerve is your body's emotional regulator and it controls a lot of, I believe it controls a lot of autonomic nervous system. So things that should happen automatically, breathing, your temperature, adjusting. Can't remember any others off the top of my head, but shaking. We'll continue. We'll get to that. So your vagus nerve holds suppressed emotions, unprocessed shock, chronic tension, survival fear, inherited trauma, and ancestral trauma, which if you asked me 6 months ago, ancestral trauma, I would have been like, I'm not really so sure about that. It's actually being proven now that through epigenetics, which I believe Bruce Lipton is working on. If you're interested in it, look him up. He has lots of YouTube videos and books out there. Talks about the epigenetics, and I believe that is connected in some way to DNA, and they are finding that we actually do hold ancestral trauma. If your people have come from a place, very poor place or a land of where there's problems and whatnot, trauma that they felt is still within you. So you may feel that. That is something else that needs to be cleared. Sometimes you hear people saying things like they feel like they were a witch in a past life, or they felt like they were being burned. They see it very vividly, or that their feeling of it is vivid to the point where they actually are questioning whether in a past life they experienced that. Well, it could also be ancestral trauma that you're feeling. So that would be something where I would say trying to do a soul retrieval and finding out where that comes from would be a great idea. So as awakening happens, this nerve begins to loosen its grip, and it shows up as spontaneous crying, shaking, yawning, sighing, trembling, hot or cold waves, and digestive shifts. These are somatic release mechanisms. The body is freeing what the soul is ready to outgrow. So you don't need to, I just want to make a point, you don't need to wait until you're feeling all these things. If you're feeling tension from thinking about the awakening issues, things that are arising in you, just kind of go step outside, breathe some fresh air, look at some trees, put your feet on the ground, just move, shake it out, because moving will also get the negative energy out and away from you. So that's a good way to handle that as well. You are making space for higher clarity. Literally, once your old survival coding clears out, something miraculous happens. You begin to access deeper intuition. And I'm not kidding when I'm telling you this. It's like what I have been seeing happen and what people have been telling me. It's like when you clear something, the next day it is evident and obvious that you cleared it. You will access deeper intuition, sharper perception, clearer truth, higher wisdom, spiritual insight, discernment, inner peace, emotional intelligence, and soul-led direction. So here's the thing. The things that I just mentioned have been around and mentioned for centuries, and we find it in a lot of ancient texts and books. Opening the third eye, illumination, enlightenment, gnosis, purification of sight, seeing through the heart, accessing the Akashic record, soul retrieval. Your physical body becomes an instrument that can hold more consciousness, more truth, more light, more you. You stop reacting and start responding. When the nervous system is in survival mode, life is reactionary. Is this safe? Am I loved? Am I enough? Do they approve? What if I fail? What if I'm rejected? Don't make anyone uncomfortable. When the nervous system is balanced, though, you step into sovereignty. Suddenly, this is who I am. This is what I feel. This is what my soul wants. This is my truth. These are my boundaries. And this is my path. This shift is the birth of the activated soul voice, the inner GPS that guides your awakening. The energetic rebalancing is the bridge between the human self and the awakened self. This is the part of Mary's gospel where it's mentioned her overcoming the 7 demons. If you haven't read Mary's gospel yet, I highly recommend it. I read it many times and really dissected it in our book circle as our last book. And we do quite a bit of talking to each other about it and further taking that book and what we're learning in it and then researching other books to even give us more insight into what Mary was saying. And it's fascinating because 2,000 years ago, Mary was telling us that Jesus told her that this is what you need to do. Exactly what we are talking about right now is clearing the soul. Clearing the soul to make way for other things. In her gospel, it's mentioned, and also in the Bible, overcoming the 7 demons. Now, the 7 demons were later named 7 deadly sins, 7 gateways, 7 initiations. There's all sorts of names for it out there. But essentially, it's the 7 emotions, the ego. It's all referring to the 7 powers of the ego that we must clear away in order to be a channel for our higher self and to receive more clarity and goodness in our life. 2,000 years ago, she put that, or whoever wrote it, in her gospel. We are just learning now that we have to put this into practice. In Mary's case, it was Jesus teaching her how to prepare for the ascension, the cleansing of the soul self. It's the messy, beautiful, uncomfortable middle. It's the part where the old you dissolves so the real you can emerge. It's biology and soul working together, body, mind, and soul. And your nervous system, it's breaking free. It's like, there's so much going on and I need to break free. So let me just tell you a little bit about my spiritual awakening. I always love hearing people's stories about this. I'm going to share with you mine for now. My spiritual awakening started 5 years ago. I had COVID, literally tried to kill me. I'm still not even quite sure that I actually survived it. I feel like I may have had a near-death experience. I just never recovered from COVID. I was left with tremors, instability. I couldn't stand, like something was off. Fainting, constantly fainting. Every time I stood up, I would faint. Terrible digestive problems, fatigue and exhaustion that was like nothing I've ever felt before in my life. Like if I was to try to stand up for more than 5 minutes, my body would just give out and I would buckle and fall to the floor. Like it wasn't saying, I'm really tired, I need to lay down. It was like, I'm laying down right now because my body says so. And I had to give up my career as a photographer because I was no longer able to hold a camera steady or put in the hours and the work that was required of me, which was really upsetting. It was my dream of my life. I used to do women's empowerment photography. I mean, I loved every bit of it and I had to give that up. So I got really depressed. And somebody had suggested to me that, I mean, they said it nicely, but they said that maybe it's not physical, it's psychological. And what I heard is it's all in your head. And that set me off. I was hearing no part of it because I was saying, there's nothing in my head, it's in my body. Can't you see all of these things that are happening to me? They are physiological, not psychological. And I was certain that that was the case. But when all of my childhood trauma started bubbling up to the surface, I started to feel like I need to consider what this person was saying to me. They were suggesting that my childhood trauma needed to be released, and that was what was causing all of these physical symptoms. And it did take me quite a while. I'm not saying right away I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. No, I was fighting it for about 3 years because I just could not fathom that that was what was happening to me. It was a terrible time. That was a real dark night of the soul where I didn't leave my bed for a very long time. I was very depressed. So, in fact, my husband claimed that I had become a completely different person. And when I look back now, he was right. I did become a different person. I was very depressed, but I'm also a different person today than I was back then. But the road to get here was bumpy, and sometimes it can be very overwhelming and it can be lonely. I signed myself up to a trauma informed certification course. It was like an EMDR type called Feminine Freedom Method. And I was really there to get my certification so that I could use it in my practice. But what I found was that every day, I mean, my poor instructor, every day I was there, I was just sobbing and bawling because I was going through resolving my shadows right there in this course. And I did need to go and get a therapist because that it wasn't quite enough. I needed a little bit more support on the back end after the class, but I did learn quite a bit from that and it did help me dramatically. So our ego sees the incident from our childhood. If there was an incident that um, maybe you, as an adult, maybe you don't consider it so bad, like something like, oh, I was playing the piano. I love playing the piano and I would play all the time. And my father came home and yelled at me, why do you have to play the piano so horribly? Or something to that effect. And that's a trauma because now later on in life you might hear that person say, "Oh, I used to play the piano, but I don't play anymore." They have taken that experience of trauma as an 8-year-old child where they felt traumatized by being told that what they were doing was horrible and nobody wanted to hear it. And their ego has convinced them that they don't like playing the piano. So now they have lived their whole life without playing the piano, when in reality, they do like playing the piano. They can't see that. They don't see that that was the block. And when you can see it, it's a forehead slap. Oh my gosh, I never noticed this before, but I do really like playing the piano. How can I get back to that? Well, we have to go back. We have to go into our memory and really feel with your body and all of your sensations like you are there. You are the 8-year-old child experiencing playing the piano, experience the emotions of playing, the joy of playing, and then the disheartening feeling when you're told that you are no good. And you have to let that ride out. And then you picture it with all of the emotions involved having a different outcome, having a positive outcome. That is how we clear our shadows. With that being said, that sounds simple. It's not always that easy, but it is something you can do for yourself. And it's wildly eye-opening when you really can go through the steps and see how often in your life you will, like that person that I'm talking about with the piano, um, has self-sabotaged many other things in her life. Like somebody may have come along and been like, "Oh, do you want to go to Lincoln Center and see, oh, you know, we have really great opportunity." And you would have said no, you would have talked yourself out of it for some reason because you don't want that memory coming up. So it's really interesting. I mean, for me, I was ashamed of my poor upbringing. So a sense of unworthiness was behind every argument me and my husband had because I felt like he was always trying to point out that he was better, smarter, and made more money than me. But what I was accusing him of wasn't a problem for him to fix. It was a problem with my perception that needed fixing. Once I was able to see that I was harboring the anger and rejecting all the good, positive things because I thought I was unworthy, everything became crystal clear. And my first thought was, how much of my life experiences have been tainted by feeling unworthy? I think that was a second thing that I thought of. The first thing was, oh shit, it's me. Oh, so it's very fascinating. So that leads us to the fourth component, which is the activation of the soul voice. So your truest inner knowing begins to speak again, the voice that was always yours. Your soul voice has always been with you. This whole lifetime, for sure. And if it is true that we have past lifetimes, I think it's probably likely that the same soul has traveled, that you are the soul that has traveled over lifetime, and that soul is within you right now. And maybe that's why some people have past recall past lives, things like that. Who knows? At this point, nothing surprises me anymore. Anything's possible. So awakening is not becoming something new. Awakening is remembering what you've always been. So that soul voice inside of you, your soul, that's part of you. So you are a soul that's in a body. And this is never more clear to me than when I am meditating and go into another level of consciousness that I see instead of out of my eyes here. I feel like I'm back here looking out of a mask almost. I don't know if anybody else feels this, by the way. It's crazy. I feel like I'm wearing this suit of a body and I'm looking through it, not out of it. I know it's crazy. The soul voice is its real embodied intelligence that lives beneath the conditioning, beneath the trauma, beneath the ego, and beneath the survival pattern. It is the part of you that has always known the truth, but was trained, shamed, or conditioned out of speaking. When awakening begins, the soul voice starts to reactivate, and this creates a dramatic shift in perception, identity, and inner authority. Let's break this down in a way that feels grounded, mystical, and relatable. Okay, so the soul voice is the original self before conditioning. Before religion told you who God is, before society told you who a woman should be, before family told you who you must be, before trauma told you who you were allowed to be, there was you. Pure awareness, pure instinct, pure truth, pure connection. Awakening pulls you back into that you, the pre-programmed you, the untouched you, the remembering you. And soul voice gets louder as the ego loses dominance. I mentioned this earlier. It's like exercising. It's like going to the gym and working out. The more you do it, the body and the mind remembers, and so it gets better at it. Those neural pathways, when we create a neural pathway, and you use that over and over again, it becomes easier. So for somebody who tries to get to their soul voice, which we're going to do in just a few minutes, it takes some time and some practice, and it may not work for you the first time, but the more you do it, the easier it comes. And I've been practicing this for a while, so sometimes I'm not even trying to get to that place, but my soul voice is like tapping me on the shoulder and telling me when I'm about to do things wrong. It's like reminding me, especially with your shadow work. You do all that shadow work, and if you're going into a situation where you're about to repeat one of those self-sabotaging habits, you're going to hear that soul voice being like, you don't want to do this. You know that the reality is you do this because of blah, blah, blah. You know, you have to think clearly. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I've actually have had it happen to me a few times now. So during awakening, something dramatic happens. The ego, the programmed survival mind, begins to lose its position as the narrator of your life. So you start listening to the soul voice, because now the soul voice is like that red car. So the red car being there all the time. So your soul voice is there all the time. We just don't know how to hear it because our ego is too loud. So we need to close down the ego to make room for the soul voice. So this is how we're going to transition that. So the ego, I said that already. This is why awakening feels so destabilizing. The story you lived by dissolves. The identity you built doesn't fully fit. Your old patterns don't feel aligned. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You stop tolerating the misalignment. And underneath all of that, you feel this is what's true. This is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I'm called towards. That is the whisper of your soul voice re-emerging. So the soul voice shifts your entire trajectory. When it becomes active, relationships shift, purpose clarifies, boundaries strengthen, old identities dissolve, new callings emerge. You stop self-abandoning. You stop betraying your truth. You stop making yourself small, and you stop negotiating with misalignment. Your life begins to reorganize itself around truth instead of fear. This is the great remembering. This is the moment the ascension path actually begins. Awakening is not the peak. It's the beginning. Activation of the soul voice is the initiation, the threshold between who you were conditioned to be and who you came here to be. This is the moment the veil lifts. This is the moment guidance becomes accessible. And this is the moment synchronicities increases. This is the moment clarity returns, the moment sovereignty rises, and the moment that Magdalene whispers to you, remember. So here's a little funness that I stuck in here for you guys. I find it so fascinating when we see science corroborating things that spiritual people have been talking about for a long time. And it's like, yes, they are finally getting on board with some of these things because they have tools to measure it now, where they didn't have a lot of these tools before. So enough people are pushing, especially in like the neuroscience area. It's really interesting. So we're going to talk about science and how it comes together. So the science, cosmic and planetary energies, and human biology. And by the way, I actually, in case anyone's interested in following up on any of this, I learned most of this through Dawson Church, who has a book out called Spiritual Intelligence, and he also has one called Bliss Brain. And he is describing exactly what we're doing by reaching a level of higher consciousness, but he's describing it and measuring it through scientific methods. So it is very interesting if you like that sort of thing. And I'm over here tying the strings to my board. This is the part people struggle with because it sounds out there and woo-woo, but energy influences biology and there's scientific research to back it up. So let's break it down. The sun is not just a light source, it's an active electromagnetic body. Solar flares, geomagnetic storms create disturbances in Earth's magnetic field. NASA tracks this as space weather, and it can have major physiological effects such as anxiety, vivid dreams, emotional surges, fatigue, pressure in the head, and heart palpitations. This is all mainstream science that is understood by scientists. However, it hasn't been fully connected to the effects that people are feeling. In other words, science has yet to put their stamp of approval on it, saying, yes, in fact, this does affect us. Earth has a magnetic field, and so do you. Humans are electromagnetic beings. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field measurable up to 10 feet outside your body. When I first heard that, I was fascinated. That means if another person is within 10 feet of you, they will feel your energy is 10 feet. So they would be stepping into your energy. That's so cool. That's why if a person steps into your 10 feet around you, and I think that the 10 feet was the furthest that they were able to use their measurement tools. So it's not a limit of 10 feet. It's that they measured 10 feet. So if somebody has negative vibes or whatever, that's why you can feel their negative vibes. It's like you're actually taking in some of their electromagnetic field. So your brain runs on electrical signals. Your nervous system responds to electromagnetic changes. So studies show correlations between geomagnetic activity and heart rate variability, sleep cycles, mood regulation, circadian rhythm, melatonin production, cortisol levels, and anxiety or emotional sensitivity. Researchers at HeartMath Institute have found that human autonomic nervous systems synchronize with geomagnetic fluctuations. That was like such a mouthful. Other studies found increased emotional turbulence, reduced sleep quality, or heightened sensitivity during strong geomagnetic storms. By the way, we have been going through geomagnetic storms for a little while now, like enough to be recognized. Since this whole awakening is happening, the geomagnetic fluctuations have been very high, and a lot of people are complaining of all of these disturbances. Other studies found increased, I read that already. This doesn't mean the sun is awakening you. It means your body responds to the energetics of the environment. Just like the moon affects the tides, cycles, hormones, and sleep, the sun and Earth's magnetic fields affect your biology. Every woman knows that if you live in a household with other women, your cycles begin to sync up with one another. It seems magical or witchy. Men may not believe it, but we know for a fact it is true. Just like women's intuition, we all know that it's true, or maybe we've experienced it on another level, but science would say, nope, there is no current way to measure and prove it, and so therefore it remains unsubstantiated, which is a word that's very frustrating because it doesn't actually mean not true. It's just not tested or proven. So during high solar cycles, sensitives, spiritual people who are attuned to, like we're empaths and stuff, you're attuned to feeling more, we feel these solar activities. So people report the vivid dreams, emotional releases, anxiety spikes, heart palpitations, fatigue, sudden clarity, intuition bursts, relationship dissolutions, identity shedding, downloads or insights. And so I am hearing a lot of downloads and insights. And I think right now we're a lot of us are receiving downloads and we are referring to them as channeled messages because I would say describing downloads is like a sudden knowing, gnosis, or a sudden, getting like a message, receiving a message, not necessarily somebody speaking, but just like a knowing. You just feel like someone just dropped, an encyclopedia on you and you know something that you didn't know before and you have no reason to know it. And you're like, where did this come from? So we just automatically figure, well, we must be receiving this from a being, or we must be channeling this from somewhere. But I'm not so sure we know that yet. At least I don't know that. I mean, I've had downloads and I have experienced channeled messages, and I feel like they feel different. Okay, so people in awakening are feeling this a lot. So with the vast amount of people experiencing something that could be considered a phenomenon, it has to be addressed by science, or people will lose their trust in what is scientifically proven and what is not, which opens an entirely new thought about many books, articles, and things that remain over the centuries that have been looked upon by society and science as false can now be looked at from different perspective. Which leads me to this juicy little nugget. The mystics talked about this long before science and ancient tradition. The mystics talked about this long before science did, and ancient traditions predicted this. Magdalene, the Essenes, mystics, Sufis, indigenous wisdom, Vedic cosmology. I could go on and on and on. All spoke of a time when humanity's consciousness would split. Those awakening, those collapsing into fear, those living multi-layered reality, those stuck in material perception. I could, like, the list would just go on of all of the different groups, spiritual groups, mystical groups that have talked about this happening. And they use different words, but they're essentially saying the same thing. Even Mary's gospel, written 2,000 years ago, refers to the same experience. Spiritual traditions describe energetics long before physics measured them. Science is starting to catch up. So is it spiritual or science, or both? Your physical body, you are an energetic body, and you are consciousness. Your awakening is the intersection of all three. When the planet's energetic environment shifts, you feel it physically, emotionally, intuitively. This is why your awakening feels timed and not random. So if this tells you anything, it tells you that we are, in fact, connected to the earth, the sun, the moon, the tides. We are a part of it, and our bodies are impacted by it. So I'm just going to do a recap now. I know we talked about a lot of things, but I know that people are wondering, am I awakened? Am I not awakened? Where am I at in this? It's really hard to tell, right? Because everyone's different. So I'm just going to go through a list of the signs that you're awakening in the process of, or have already gone through. So the energetic signs would be tingling in the body or any place in the body, heat, pressure, buzzing, fatigue, sudden bursts of energy. The emotional signs would be waves of sadness, irritation, random tears, old wounds resurfacing, feeling done with certain people or patterns, psychic or intuitive signs, vivid dreams, synchronicity, inner knowing, feeling guided, and sudden clarity. Life signs, career shifts, relationship dissolutions, desire for purpose, desire for solitude, and desire for depth. So you may have experienced many of those. You may have only experienced one or two. You may not have been paying attention, and you may have experienced a lot of these. And I have found that people that are awakening right now, if you really look back, like I do for myself, I would say all the way back when COVID hit 5 years ago was when awakening began. And it is taking this long to get to the real juicy good stuff. So more power to you. So now let's get into our soul voice activation. So this is just going to be a short one tonight, just to kind of get you primed and understanding of what it is that we're trying to achieve here. And then feel free to use this on occasion, or to go ahead if you decide you want to. It's only about 10 minutes long. You can do it every day, you know, until you start really getting a vibe for it, or it's always here for you. It's always available. So here we go. So let's get nice and cozy, relax. Make sure your feet are on the ground. If you just bear with me a second, I am going to put on some background music, which is nice and relaxing for us. See what we find. Where you are, yourself to settle. Take a moment to become aware of your body. Feel your seat, your feet, the rise and fall of your breath. There's nothing you need to fix. There's nothing you need to force. Nothing you need to get right. Just be here now. Let's begin with a deep cleansing breath. Go in for 4 counts through the nose and out for 6 counts through the mouth. And really on the out breath, audibly let that breath out if that feels right to you. Once more, let's repeat that. In through the nose for 4, out through the mouth for 6. Feel your feet firmly on the ground. Imagine roots growing right out of the bottom of your feet, connecting you to our Mother Earth, pulling her energy from her crystal core up through the roots into the bottom of your feet. Picture it as a golden light swirling up your legs, into your pelvic bowl, up into your torso and your chest, into your arms and down to your fingers, up through your shoulders, your neck, your face, and into your crown. Feel it swirling around as a golden light is filling up inside. Picture it radiating outward all around you, making you a beacon of divine light. Place one hand over your heart, and if it feels good, place the other hand over your lower belly or womb space. Gently breathe into your heart space as if your breath is moving in and out of the center of your chest. Inhale in for 4 counts. Exhale out for 6. Slow, intentional, soft. Let your breath be warm. Let it be kind. Let it be spacious. With each inhale, feel yourself arriving. With each exhale, feel yourself releasing what is no longer needed at this moment. Looking up in your mind's eye, begin to look for the Christ light above you. It's like a stream of white light coming in from your crown, lifting your arms up to receive this light and pulling it down into you. Bring your awareness to your third eye in the space right between your eyebrows and let your mind's eye rest there for a moment. Gently touch that space with your fingers for a moment. Now soften your jaw, your shoulders, your belly, your throat, your brow. Let the armor melt. Let the body unclench. Let yourself be held. There is nothing to protect yourself from right now. You are safe and you are supported. You are witnessed. Bring your hands back to your heart space and allow them to rest there. Focus your attention to the space behind your quiet, the stillness, the center of you. This is where your soul voice lives. This is where truth rises. This is where clarity finds you. Breathe into that center. Feel it open. Feel the weight of it. Picture the golden light from Mother Earth and the white Christ light meeting there in the heart space, swirling around each other, becoming one energy source. When you feel ready, ask inwardly or whisper softly, "Soul, what do I need to know about my awakening?" Ask without forcing an answer. Ask without expectation. Ask without fear. Just ask and let the question echo into your inner world. With your next exhale, feel your body settle deeper and ask, ask, what truth am I ready to step into? Let the question land in your heart, your belly, your bones. Do not reach for a mental answer. Let the truth arise from within. Whatever you feel, hear, sense, or know in the next moments, trust that it is for you. It may arrive as a word, a feeling, a memory, a sentence, a sensation, a symbol, a knowing, or simply a shift in your body. All of it counts. Nothing is random. Allow yourself to receive. Place both hands over your heart once again and repeat quietly to yourself, I trust what I know. I trust what I feel. I trust in my soul voice. Now breathe that truth down into your belly, up into your heart, your chest, and let it fill your entire body. Feel it anchor. Feel it settle. Feel it become yours. When you're ready, return to your breath. Return to your body and hold the knowing that whatever arose for you tonight is exactly what you are meant to receive. Your soul voice has always been there. This is only the beginning of your remembering. Take your time coming back. Welcome back. Hope that was beautiful for you. Hope you received some messaging. I just want to say some clarity. If you have not, that's okay too. Don't discount it yet. Sometimes the messaging just comes a little later, and just listen for it. Pay attention to it. Look for it. So I would like to just take a moment to talk to you about our new Magdalene. Awakening is not meant to be done alone. And if tonight resonated with you, if you felt seen, if you felt remembered, you are exactly who the Magdalene Network was built for. Inside the membership, we go deeper into soul voice activation, the 7 initiations of the Magdalene path, shadow work and clearing, embodiment practices, heart nervous system coherence, monthly themes, and a community of awakening women. And remember, soul voice activations are normally $22, but inside the membership, they're free. It's truly a no-brainer. Come walk with us. Come remember with us. Blessed be. Have a good night, and so it is.